I'm Tanya Southey. I'm 51 and I live in Melbourne, Australia. But I was born on African soil in South Africa and grew up through the apartheid years, which actually shaped me in some very interesting ways. And I think, as you said, Gertrude, Africa kind of builds a certain resilience that you just it's in the grit of the soil there. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Yeah, you can't deny what Africa does. It's in our blood, right? And it's the best
Exactly.
thing that ever happened to me. It made me tenacious, feisty.
Yep.
You just don't give up because giving up is not an option there.
No, exactly. I was thinking, there's no social welfare, there's nothing. So from an early age, you just sort of, you know, older people look in your eyes and go, you better work, you better just get on with it or you're gonna die.
And you will too, literally. So, gosh, you've had an amazing life. You've worked in the corporate world. I want you to touch a little bit about that, but more so the living legacy you're trying to create going forwards.
Yeah, so I spent 25 years in corporate and a lot in senior executive roles for General Electric, for Jetstar, part of Qantas, and for Carlton United Breweries. And I created a life that I didn't expect, coming from a small mining town, in the middle of Africa. I didn't even think I'd leave the little village. And you know, I wasn't a privileged person growing up. My father was quite poor, and he pushed us to study and put me through private school. And I remember at the time really almost hating it because all my friends were, they lived in better houses, their parents drove better cars, and I used to feel like really grumpy about things. But I think that work ethic and sort of seeing how he worked um, sort of drove in me, how do I make other people's lives better? And being in HR for all the companies that I worked in, of course, I often had to make hard decisions about people's careers, but I also wanted to build people's careers.
Okay.
Um, and kind of especially women. I've got a passion around building women because I really believe that when women are empowered, they educate their children, they bring up children, and as women, I think we tend to kind of put ourselves last,
Yes.
um, and we have to learn to put ourselves first so that we can actually serve everyone that we love, because you can't serve from an empty tank. And so I was very fortunate in my last role to have worked on a massive $106 billion integration, selling our business that I was in at the time. And I've now taken a sabbatical. And I'm really looking to create a life I don't need to take a vacation from.
Oh, I like that.
That's my goal, that I really work hard, but at no point do I go, oh my God, I'm looking so forward to that holiday because I'm just so sick of this, you know.
Oh,
Um, yeah, so I want to be doing work that I love with people that are growing. And so how that's shaping up for me in the last sort of 18 months is I've written a children's book, which my daughter illustrated. So it was a collaboration between the two of us, and that's doing really well, actually. So that's out.
wonderful.
And I've been working with coaching women and working with CEOs on how to shift their culture and how to get the best out of their people, but also at the same time, how to grow their businesses organically, because there's no point, telling people, oh, be nice to your people, but the business profits aren't there. CEOs don't listen to that. So how do you do both? Um, and I've really been enjoying that. So that's kind of a potted history.
Oh, fantastic. So, which kind of women are you trying to reach? I mean, I have a wide range of women who are listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
Who's your
I'm
target market?
so two particular women, the younger women who potentially are trying to break through into more senior roles and are really battling with juggling small children and a career. And, you know, I've been there. I know how hard that is.
Yeah.
So really working with them on how do you show up in a way that is more, that people take you more seriously, that they actually see your potential. And then also with senior women who are, you know, just trying to take their career to the next level.
Fantastic. Oh, wow. I can't wait to see what you will create going forwards. This sounds like a fascinating enterprise. And I do like the idea of creating for yourself a job that's not really a job. I think I've successfully done that with my clothing business. I get to go to Vietnam, to Macedonia, to buy fabric. I travel and I have fun at the same time. And it sounds to me like that's what you're aiming for.
Yeah, because certainly with, you know, book writing is probably, you know, unless you're J.K. Rowling, and I'd love to be J.K. Rowling, so, you know, I can visualize that. But book writing is not going to, you know, turn me into a squillionaire.
No.
It's a real passion for me to write books that are interesting, entertaining, but also make people think and grow and develop. So, you know, I'm hoping to do the same thing with books, you know, go on a global book tour, you know, coach and mentor women all around the world, and just enjoy life.
Fantastic. So I'm going to ask you to leave us with 3 nuggets of wisdom. 2 to the younger women who are starting out. What would you have said to your younger self? And then I'll ask you for four nuggets of wisdom, 2 for each age group. And then what would you say to women over the age of 50?
Okay, so the nuggets to the younger self, I would say, you know, I think there's a real concept about us not being enough. And you are always enough for where you are at the point in your life. And if you don't believe in yourself, no one else is going to believe in you. Mm-hmm. And I think what's really difficult at the moment is social media and Instagram and all of those, you know, wonderful things that connect us. Like I wouldn't have connected with you without technology, right? But they leave us with the impression that everyone else has got their shit together.
Right.
And they leave us with this veneer of connection around the perfection of everyone else's lives. And I think for younger women to, and this kind of goes to the nugget for what older women can do as well. I think we need to be more authentic. We need to connect with younger people and show them where we've had our own struggles and difficulties.
Yes.
And talk about our stories, because I think a lot of younger women are left with the impression that, you know, it's somehow, you know, it's people who've been successful, it was in their DNA. They don't realize the depth that people have had to pull their through. You know, so having those authentic conversations, especially when you're in senior roles, you know, I know in my senior roles, having had conversations where I've been vulnerable, people have come to me and said, oh, now I feel like I can do it because you felt like I could. So that's kind of maybe for both, you know, how do you reciprocate with, with that? The other thing I would tell my younger self is don't think that your plan is your plan. You know, if you think really big, you can go really big, because if I had have lived with my plan, I would still be, you know, I'd probably be in Johannesburg because that was a bigger city than, you know, than I grew up in. That was like, oh, imagine if you lived in Johannesburg. You know, really set yourself a big goal and then just really see yourself living that life, because you can trick your subconscious brain into actually believing that that's what you're doing.
And your subconscious will work it out, right?
It will. And when you put it out there, And don't put it out with arrogance or whatever. Put it out with humility and passion. But when you put it out there as to what you want, you will attract, you know, opportunities, there's a part of your brain called the reticular activating system, which is a filter, and it filters out things that are not useful to you.
Yeah.
So if you use that part of your brain to actually filter opportunities, because if you don't believe an opportunity is going to be there for you, your brain will filter it out when it's right in front of your face.
That is so true.
So, you know, really working on yourself and seeing how you can shift. Change starts from the inside out. You know, first you've got to believe it, you've got to see it, and then when you can see it, other people will see it, and opportunities just come to you.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Wonderful.
I would say the same to the 50-year-olds, because I think one of the biggest dangers of getting older is, especially in a culture that is so youth-oriented, you know, we've all got to look a certain way, and everything's about being young. Yeah. It's very, when you turn 50 and you start getting lines and you know, things are sagging, to kind of, I'm a has-been. And for me, I often follow this wonderful gynecologist, Dr. Christiane Northrup in the US, and she talks about the wisdom of your 50s and how it should be the best time of your life. And so what I really want to work with older women is to not fear aging so much, to step into the space where you have wisdom, you have experience, and what deliciousness is out there for you to actually contribute back to the world. You know, how do you become your own little mini Oprah in your own world, you know?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. That is a really nice message to leave us all with. How do you become your own mini little Oprah? I am so loving that, because we all have that greatness in us, right?
Exactly. And, you know, you might not reach millions of people, but you might reach that one person that you make such a big difference to, that goes on and does something else.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I think in our 50s, we've got to start to say, and often some of us are having babies later, but often by your 50s, your children are more grown up, they're more sort of independent, and you can go on to do some other things.
Yeah.
And so my message to the 50s and the nugget is, use this time. Don't think it's dead time and you in the decline. Get energetic, get out there. You know, possibly you'll do the best work in your 50s.
Yes. Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for coming online to do this podcast. I hope all the women out there who've heard you speak are left inspired and energized. For the young ones, knowing how to see what the future could look like. And for the older ones like us, to reinvent our lives and know that we've had the babies, we've had the careers. If you're at a crossroads and you're thinking about going in a different direction, find the support that you need to get it done. Don't do it the hard way. There's people out there like Tanya who can handhold you step by step all the way. So thank you so much, Tanya.
Lovely to meet you.
Awesome meeting you too, and let's keep in touch.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that.
Bye.
Yes.